Welcome to our continuing series, Questions and Answers, from the works of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. Today, Stress and Tension, Part 3, from the Mother. The world tension. One thing appears evident, that humanity has arrived at a certain state of general tension. Tension in effort, tension in action, tension even in everyday life. And at an overactivity so excessive, a restlessness so widespread, that the whole human race seems to have reached a point where either one has to break through a resistance and rise into a new consciousness, or fall back into an abysm of obscurity and inertia. This tension is so entire and general that something obviously has to break up. That cannot continue in this way. The present condition of the world may be taken as a sure sign of the infusion into matter of a new principle of force and consciousness and power, which has produced this acute state by its very pressure. Externally, one might expect the old methods employed by nature whenever she wanted to bring about an upheaval. But there is a new trait which is visible only to the enlightened few. Even those few are sufficiently widespread. And this new trait is not localized at one point, a single spot in the world. One can see signs of it in all countries, all over the earth. It is the will to find an ascendant, new and higher solution, an endeavor to rise to a wider and more comprehensive perfection. Certain ideas of a more collective nature, one might say, are being developed and are acting in the world. And the two things go together: the possibility of the greatest and most complete destruction, an invention bewilderingly increasing the probability of a catastrophe that will be on a much greater mass scale than it has ever been, and at the same time the manifestation of a much higher and much more comprehensive ideas and will forces, which, when they are understood, will bring a remedy that is wider, more complete, and more perfect than before. There was a time, not so long ago, when man's spiritual aspiration turned towards a silent, inactive peace, detached from all things of the world, an escape from life, just in order to avoid the battle, to rise above the struggle, to free oneself from the endeavor, a spiritual peace in which, with the cessation of tension and struggle and effort, cease also suffering in all its forms. And this was considered as the sole expression of the spiritual and divine life. That was called the divine grace, the divine aid. And even now, in this age of anguish and hypertension, this sovereign peace has, of all aids, the best reception, and is the most welcome, the relief that is asked for and hoped for, and for many, this is even the true sign of divine intervention.